Thank you for joining us today, June 20th, 2026. I am Dr. Kevin Obeng-Marnu, a practicing neurosurgeon, author, and a USMLE mentor. This is Omarnu Academy, USMLE Step 1 chapter. Well, like I always tell my students, USMLE is a dragon to slay. It's no joke. So at Omarnu's Academy, what we do is what I classify as pattern recognition. So I'm going to help you recognize frequent patterns in the USMLE and how you'll be able to recognize particular patterns during the exams, keywords, some skills and strategies in order to select the right answer. So this is why I'm here. Every student is welcome. IMGs, real doctors who wants to slay this dragon known as the United States Medical License Exams. Pattern recognition is very, very important in order to be able to answer these questions within 10 seconds is what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to teach you strategically how you'll be able to answer these questions as fast as you can because there is no time on the exams, okay? For today, we are going to analyze endocrinology, okay? Also genetics combined, okay? All right, so I'm gonna pop up a question and then I'm gonna teach you how you'll be able to select your answer as fast as you can. This is why I'm here, okay? And that is what we do at Omarnu's Academy. So don't panic, I'm here, okay? All right, so look at the question in front of you right now. So just look at it. Have you seen it? All right. Okay, so I'm gonna read through this question right now and then we're gonna answer the question as fast as we can at the end of the day, okay? So you can read with me, okay? It's on your screen right now. Let's read the question together, okay? A 17-year-old adolescent girl is evaluated for primary amenorrhea. She has otherwise been healthy and has no significant past medical history. Her height is 170 centimeters, which is 5 feet 7 inches. Weight is 62 kilograms, which is 137 pounds, and BMI is within the normal range. Physical examination shows well-developed breast consistent with late puberty. However, there is very little axillary and pubic hair development. Pelvic examination reveals a shortened vaginal canal that ends blindly. No cervix is visualized. Now, which of the following karyotypes is most consistent with this patient's condition? Okay, and then we have options, okay? So option A, 45X or XO. Option B, 46XX. Option C, 47XXY. Option D, 46XY. And option E, 47XYY. All right, so this is the question of the day and what we have to solve within seconds, and that is why we're here. Pattern recognition, ladies and gentlemen. Pattern recognition. As soon as you read such a question, the first thing to realize is that number one, it's a 17-year-old girl, adolescent, as stated in the question. Number two, primary amenorrhea. Number three, breast development. So with the breast development, you can say it's like tenor stage 4, right? Number four, neither axillary nor pubic hair. So when that comes into mind, during the USMLE exams, whenever you read primary amenorrhea, breast development with no axillary hair, no pubic hair, this should ring a bell. Right away, you should know there is something wrong, okay? So that is the biggest clue or the biggest giveaway in this question. All right, so let's start marking out some of these answer options. Option A is 45XO. 45XO is Turner syndrome. With Turner syndrome, of course, they have primary amenorrhea due to what? Ovarian dysgenesis. No doubt about that. But then keep in mind that with Turner syndrome, they do not have a blind vaginal pouch, okay? And then they also do not have a normal height. Turner syndrome patients are very short, okay, around 4 feet, and so on and so forth. They can be around 5 feet, but not as tall as 5'7". So this patient with a normal height marks Turner syndrome out of the issue. And Turner syndrome patients also have webbed neck, all right, and then they do not have a normal breast development. So all these information knocks out option A as our answer, okay? So take notice of Turner syndrome, and they can also have a low hairline. They also have a short chest. So take notice of Turner syndrome. Turner syndrome is very classic. If you do not have a question like what we are solving today, it's highly possible that they can also give you Turner syndrome. So that is why I'm taking time to explain Turner syndrome. So take notice of Turner syndrome patient, and you can see the photo of a Turner syndrome patient as I've explained, okay? All right, so I'm gonna leave option B and option D, and then I'll head straight to option C, which is 47XXY. 47XXY is Klinefelter syndrome. With Klinefelter syndrome, take notice that they appear as a man, okay? The patient that came to us appears phenotypically as a woman, also with female genitalia, okay? And breast and all that. With Klinefelter syndrome, which is option D, 47XXY, they appear as a man, but they are very tall. Their height is very, very tall, and then they also have a little breast development, but not as developed as this patient, which is gynecomastia. All right, so that is a whole different scenario here. All right, so even with the appearance of a man in Klinefelter syndrome knocks it off, okay, because this patient came as a woman. She looks like a woman, she thinks she's a woman, and she's expecting her menstruation as a woman. So that is quite different, okay? The last option, which is option E, is 47XYY. For the fact that a patient has double Y, that means the patient is fully man. Is the Y, remember, is the Y chromosome that makes you a man, or that makes me a man, that makes anybody a man. So if somebody is having 47XYY, it's 47 because the Y is double, right? So 47XYY instead of a 46XY. That means this person looks like a man. Okay, with the patient we read in this question, looks like a woman. She came as a woman with primary amenorrhea. So that is absolutely not, okay? And with people of 47XYY, they have learning disabilities. They are very tall, okay? Similar to the Klinefelter syndrome, okay, and all that. And they have all the external, they have male external genitalia, phenotypically man. Unlike this patient we read, who is phenotypically female, okay? So take notice of it. So that is absolutely off. There we go. So we have the last two, which is option B, 46XX, and then option D, 46XY. So let's take option B. Option B, 46XX. 46XX, it looks like a woman, right? 46XX. But mind you, people with 46XX with primary amenorrhea most likely have Mullerian agenesis. And with Mullerian agenesis, what happens is that their pubic hairs are delayed. It's just absolutely delayed. Unlike this patient who looks normal, but the pubic hairs and the axillary hair is somewhere around Turner stage 1, okay? It's different from delayed, all right? So this is Mullerian agenesis. So take notice of it. It's absolutely different from this patient we're describing here. So we have the last option, which is option D, 46XY. 46XY, that is a man. The karyotype shows that this person is genotypically male and phenotypically female. Yes, because of the Y chromosomes, this patient is developing testosterone from the Y chromosomes. The Y chromosomes that they have results in undifferentiated gonads. So they have testes, and these testes are producing testosterone, and the genital tubercles are not responding. Okay, that is why they are developing breast. They develop breast because these testosterones are now being converted to what? Estrogen, through a process we call aromatization, right, in the adipose tissues. The cranial suspensory ligaments do not regress. So as a result, the testes still maintain, okay, in the abdomen or in the inguinal. All right, it cannot descend down to the perineal. So they still have testes in the inguinal area, which is producing testosterone. The uterus and the upper third of the vagina do not develop. That is why there is a blind vaginal pouch. Why? Because they have testes. And then these testes also produce anti-Mullerian hormones. So these anti-Mullerian hormones is gonna stop the development of ovaries and fallopian tubes and uterus and upper vagina and all that in this patient. Okay, the LH levels are increased in this patient due to negative feedbacks of the androgens being produced as a result, okay, of the testes that they have. So this is androgen insensitivity syndrome, AIS. So remember androgen insensitivity syndrome? That's a very classic USMLE question. And then remember, primary amenorrhea, breast development due to what? The breast development was due to what? Estradiol. The estrogen being produced as a result of what? Aromatization. Okay, they have too much androgens. Their testis is still there in the inguinal, producing testosterone, and these are being converted, okay, to estrogen. So they have breast. All right, so they develop breast, but then at the same time, because of anti-Mullerian hormones, they cannot be able to produce a full uterus and upper third of the vagina and all that. So they are not complete female. Okay, they don't have all the ovaries and all that stuff that the women have, but yet they have estrogen due to what? Aromatization. So take notice of it. This is a classic USMLE question, and it's very easy to solve this. Remember, number 1, primary amenorrhea. Number 2, full breast development. Number 3, blind vaginal pouch. Number 4, normal height. And then number 5, no cervix was visualized. Number 6, no pubic hairs, axillary and pubic hairs, absolutely nothing. I've gone through yet again another USMLE question, made it very simple for you, and you can solve this within 30 seconds maximum. Okay, so I would like to hear from you. What actually gave it away? Okay, you at home listening to me now, what actually gave the diagnosis away? Was it A, primary amenorrhea, or B, breast development, or C, normal stature or normal height, or D, blind vaginal pouch, or E, no axillary and pubic hair? So how were you able to find out the diagnosis? What was your clue among all the keywords and the clues that was highlighted in this question? So let me know in the comments below. You can comment and let me know how you feel, and then how you were able to also understand this question, and I'll come back again with yet another one. Thank you. Always remember, androgen insensitivity syndrome is always there. Everything that I've discussed today is always on the board. Klinefelter syndrome is on the board, Turner syndrome is on the board, androgen insensitivity syndrome is on the board, and we also have 5-alpha reductase syndrome, you know, and all that. So I'll come again with yet another one. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channels for more at Dr. Kevin Obeng-Marnu MD. Also Facebook, Dr. Kevin Marnu USMLE, and Dr. Kevin Obeng-Marnu MD. Don't forget to join our Telegram channel where we discuss more, and then we have a lot of tips there at Omarnu USMLE 1. Okay, Omarnu USMLE 1. Thank you, gracias, feichan ganshedimen, arigato, maraming salamat po. Meramasipa. Dr. Kevin Obeng-Marnu, MD. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Kevin Obeng-Marnu, a practicing neurosurgeon. Hello family, this is Dr. Kevin Obeng-Marnu, MD. Y'all welcome to my channel. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. And God bless. Thank you.